Hello everyone. Yes, another hand waving video. The reason why I make these videos and just show my product and wave my hand is because, you know, whenever I make these discussion videos and there's not really much to show, like I don't want to just be on my computer and just, it's like the same thing. I'd rather just show you guys my product and just wave my hand than, just be on my computer. But anyways, I want to make this video because I like talking about this topic every once in a while. This topic of liquidity and selling. And it's really strange because I've noticed in this Pokemon investing space that nobody really talks about selling or anything like that. And if you really think about it, selling is part of investing because you have to liquidate at some point because this is all paper gains. You're not making, until you sell it, you didn't make any money, right? And nobody talks about it. It's really strange. So I like to bring up this topic, especially now when market's hot and everything. I like to talk about these topics, especially for new people, to give you guys something to think about. I don't make these videos to try to scare you or anything, but just give you guys the realness and things to think about. So recently, I've been taking some profits. I've been selling some boxes. When they hit certain price points, I'm selling some off. I'm not selling everything, but I'm slowly selling some boxes off at certain price points. And the reason why I do that is because of liquidity. Now, my strategy, I've always explained this, has never been to hold a booster box until it hits 5 grand, until it's 10, 20 years old. I don't have that strategy because, you know, where I sell, in the marketplace I choose to sell my product is in person. And by doing that, my strategy is going to be very different than a lot of people. Because if your strategy in your marketplace is to sell in person, you have to think about this. Liquidity. It's a way bigger thing you have to think about because let's say in a 50-mile radius of wherever you live, how many people are going to be willing to buy a booster box that's $5,000? How many people in a 50-mile radius? Probably not many, right? So if you're doing that sort of strategy like me, where you just want to sell in person for every reasons maybe, right? Holding everything until they hit thousands of dollars maybe isn't the best idea because can you actually sell those booster boxes within, whatever, like 50, even 100-mile radius of you? If you have, maybe tens or even hundreds of these booster boxes that are thousands of dollars, it's great that they're that expensive. But if you only plan to sell locally, you might have a tough time, right? So that's where my strategy has never been to hold all my booster boxes until they hit the thousands of dollars range because I know with where I sell, it's gonna be rough. I'm not gonna be able to offload, decent amounts of these products because they're just so expensive. Liquidity does become just an issue in general, but definitely in person, it's way worse. However, if you do plan on selling on eBay, maybe through some consignment service, maybe you have your own eBay store with, feedback, liquidity isn't as much of an issue, right? If you search up a team up booster box, it's like 4 grand. They sell maybe every week. If you search up Evolving Skies is what, 1,400 bucks? They sell every single day, right? But however, some of these other boxes that are even older and older, some X and Y boxes, some black and white boxes, go on eBay. You will see there are sometimes months where none sell. Obviously, it's because it's a little bit different back then. Times are different, how much was printed. People back then probably weren't holding as much as people are now. There's a lot of differences, I guess, going back that far in those eras. But liquidity definitely is a huge thing you could talk about with X and Y boxes, black and white boxes. Go on eBay, search up, a Plasma Storm box, search up a Legendary Treasures box, go to sold listings. You might not even find any, of those boxes really being sold anywhere, I guess just recently because there's just, there's even, boxes listed, but there's just not that much of a market for them. And that's something you guys got to also think about too, is when boxes get to a certain age, your market, other than just, price points, the people that are actually interested in buying older boxes, it also shrinks too. Because how many people right now that are just getting into Pokemon, right? That are, just interested in modern stuff. How many of those people are looking at buying black and white boxes, XY boxes? Probably not that many. Maybe the hardcore collectors and people, whatever, but probably not that many. Now, I've always thought about this too. Sword and Shield, even Scarlet and Violet. Right now, they're popular, right? Right now, they're talked about and everything. But in a decade from now, if you're planning on holding for 10, 20 years, is Sword and Shield, is Scarlet and Violet going to be as relevant, as sought after as it is right now? Probably not. I would say Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet are very nostalgic eras. Sword and Shield was during the whole, pandemic thing. Scarlet and Violet was during this whole I guess, there's a lot of good artworks and this whole craziness now with this market, right? So these are nostalgic eras that you could say are maybe more nostalgic than maybe XY, black and white, whatever. But when time goes on, right, and these new eras come out, the new fad, whatever is going to be next, right? That's another thing you have to think about. Time passes. In 10 years from now, Scarlet and Violet Sword and Shield is probably not going to be as talked about or as easy to sell or as sought after as probably the semi-new stuff. Like, even Sun and Moon right now. How many people right now are buying Sun and Moon boxes in the thousands of dollar range? There's probably a portion, right? But it's probably not that much. Like if you search up any Sun and Moon box, there are probably some boxes that sell almost every single day, right? But all those boxes, there's probably many on the market. That's just, if one box sells a day, guys, if you think about it, if a couple boxes sell on eBay a day, that's the whole like United States, Canada, everywhere, right? Even it's like across the world. That's not that much. And if you're trying to sell at market price, you might have some problems trying to even get market price. Maybe if you have good pictures, you have a clean box, maybe it's easier to sell. But, it's the liquidity thing, especially if you guys need money at some point and these boxes are what you guys have and you have tons of them at these price points, you might have to sell under market to actually liquidate these higher price items because you might be sitting around for months. Maybe your box doesn't sell, especially, when these boxes get to the thousands of dollar range. There are some, products out there in boxes that do sell like team up boxes at $4 grand. They sell relatively, I guess, often, but still, it's not like they sell like 10, 20, 30 boxes every single day. And that's why my strategy also is not to keep all these boxes till they hit that price point because I want, at certain margins, I'm pretty happy selling like when things double or triple. Like that's good enough for me and I can easily offload it. I don't care to make a 10x off of one box, wait for 10 years and only maybe be able to sell one box every, month, every, whatever. To me, I always think about it this way. Buying some and selling some is the best strategy because I can take my profits now and whatever comes in the future, let's say I hold a box and it does get to $1,000 or $2,000, $3,000. Well, if it's harder for me to sell, if I can't sell as fast as I want to, at least I took some profits when they were, cheaper and liquidity was better. And now I don't have all of them because let's say I have 100 boxes right now of, I don't know, team up, right? How am I going to sell all those boxes? Like, let's say I wanted the money or whatever and I needed it. How am I going to sell all those 100 boxes? It's going to be pretty hard at $5 grand, right? Versus, let's say I sold some when they were 500, sold some when they were $1,000. It becomes not as bad having a huge amount of boxes that are that expensive because, the worry, or not really worry, but I guess the thought and, where to sell these boxes, it becomes less and less. And like I said, it really depends on your strategy if you're selling online and in person. But for me, like I said, I sell in person. So if I had to sell 100 team up boxes in person, that would be a nightmare, right? To try to find 100 people, whatever, or, lots of people that would buy team up boxes for $4 grand in person. But like I said, if you plan on selling online, a lot of this liquidity stuff, it's not as bad because your marketplace is a lot more vast online. But I know a lot of people out there also are like me that only want to sell in person because of whatever reason, scams and everything, whatever. You got to think about liquidity a lot more. And that's why, like I said, my strategy is I sell some at certain price points. I'll keep some for the long term just to also just have in my collection and whatever. But yeah, I don't hold everything for infinite amount of time and for 10, 20 years. I'm not like that because I don't think it's that efficient for my investing strategy. So I know I just went on a ramble and talked about everything about selling and, I guess liquidity. But I did want to make this video just to give you guys something to think about, especially if you're new to this whole investing thing, is that you have to think about where you're going to sell this stuff and at what price point and how liquid it's going to be, and think about all your factors. If you are rich and you don't need money and you don't care to sell stuff quickly, or you're sure you won't need that money in the future for some reasoning, you can hold everything long term, wait for everything to get to thousands of dollars, sell one box every month, and you'll be fine. But, if you're trying to, I guess, maximize your liquidity and your gains and have a middle ground, holding everything until they get to thousands of dollars is probably not the best idea. And I've talked about it many times. And that's why I've been selling, some of my, boxes off because they've hit price points where I'm happy with it. I'll sell some off at this point, take my profits, roll it over into new things that are gonna, be cheaper, sell it, when those get to a certain price point, sell it. It's like rolling the ball. And that's how my investing strategy is. Definitely, it's a lot different than some people, but why is it like that? It's because of my marketplace and where I sell in my strategy. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I like sometimes making these more informative videos, not really just investing videos, but just talking about, I guess, things within investing that I feel like are really important to talk about and get your mind thinking about some of these things, because a lot of people that have invested into Pokemon have never sold. And until you actually sell or try to sell in person, online, whatever you're doing, until you actually sell, you'll really know how it is, because some people think selling some of these products is super easy, but depending on how it is and depending what the product is, and if you're selling in person, it's not as easy as you think. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.